That's right, it's Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time for another delightful tarot show. Yes, we are going to crack on and get some readings done. Just very quickly, there have been a few people leaving requests for readings in the comment sections of the video. That's very naughty. Just to make it easier for me, do try and send it through on the private message through YouTube. Of course, the YouTube account is just quite simply Nick Dutch Tarot, okay? And I'll be more than happy to add you to the rota. Obviously, if you haven't actually requested a reading today, just sit down, relax, just watch the show, and hopefully you'll be able to get some pleasure or some insight, or indeed find out about other people's lives and the problems that other people are going through, okay? One thing I will say is this show tends to go out usually once a week, somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday, usually, because obviously, you know, I'm a very busy man. I've got my own appointments and all the rest of that, and I've got to try and fit the show in as well. So I can't always guarantee the precise day and time when the show is going to be done, but it's normally in the middle of the week, okay? Don't, you know, send me like 20 odd pages worth of text, okay? Try and keep it relatively concise, but obviously not too short. If you can include your first name and date of birth, that would help me out an awful lot as well. Naturally, there are some questions that I don't tackle, such as those relating to pregnancy, medical matters, childbirth and the like. I also don't necessarily do legal issues either, and I would seriously prefer it if you were 18 years of age or older, okay? Because, you know, there are legal constraints on the service that I provide, and I do want to provide, you know, the best possible service to the greatest possible number, and so therefore basically there has to be a bit of a system in order to make sure I can cover everyone's requests, alright? As I'm sure you've noticed if you've seen like the past few tarot show videos that I've been doing, we've been doing a bit of a tour of the tarot. Okay, we've been going through various different tarot packs that I've got, and being able to see the difference of interpretation with, let's say, the Merlin Tarot, with the Celtic Tarot. Of course, you've seen the Book of Thoth Tarot, and there'll be a few others coming along as well. But today what we're going to do is we're going to be using the Oswald Worth Tarot. And this one's very special. The reason it's very special is because it's one of the more traditional designs. It's based upon the Tarot of Marseille, okay? And a lot of the designs here are regarded by people who are within occultism to be some of the original designs, or some of the more authoritative designs with connections to historical sources, as well as mystical sources and various different secret societies around the world, okay? As you can see, you know, the imagery there, it looks rather, you know, a bit like a woodcut, a bit like a medieval woodcut. Maybe you can see it a bit clearer if I hold it back and try and get it in the light there. How's that, okay? Beautiful imagery, very traditional looking, very medieval. And just for your pleasure, we're going to keep it just down to the court cards and the major arcana when we're doing the readings for today. Now, one of the many reasons for that is because pip cards on tarot can in fact be quite boring at times, and today I just don't want to bore you. Okay, sometimes I do enjoy, you know, including the pip cards as well. They can provide an extra level of depth and level of clarity, but today I just don't feel the need for that right now. So we're going to crack on. We'll see which different requests have come through by private message, and we'll start going through them one by one, okay? Just hold your horses, be right with you. Okay, Jared Cansinger's got a request, okay? This is someone who's thinking about a very particular, very special individual, or wants to know whether that individual is in love with the Inquirer. Let's have a quick look and see what the tarot says today. Just giving it a very quick shuffle. Obviously when I'm talking to you and I've just told you about the question that's been asked, I tend to shuffle like mad. And let's see what's coming through. Standard 8 card relationship reading. Okay. Well, the signs here are really rather interesting and intriguing. I mean, the forces between the two of you, very strong in terms of communication. Yes, obviously swords, suits and stave suits are always very communication orientated. Very slightly different message to the different types of communication between the variety of sword card or stave card which turns up. And that's something we've got to remember. And in this particular case, it's talking about trying to keep in control. I would say that there is love there, but this is also a variety of love which initially you might not always feel 100% comfortable with. There is a sense of connection, there's definitely a sense of communication, incredibly strong love signs on their side of things. And the reason I feel comfortable in saying that is, of course, we've got some very strong, very good, very positive cup signs, as well as a willingness to communicate. But for some reason there's a sense of conflict there. Maybe it's a conflict of interest. I don't know whether that actually means anything to you. You know, conflict of interest when associated with this relationship, when associated with his background. Think about that for the moment. I think this is someone who's just about ready. You know, we've gone through a bit of a waking up phase, and is now not quite as numbed by past failures, and is now thinking about what the future could actually hold and how that could actually work out. And I do feel that you are, you're ready as well. On your side of the reading, I mean, I often say that coin signs are very indicative of character stability, but I can sense a bit of a wildness about you. The reason I can say that is we've got the death card there. So essentially, yes, you can be, you can be stable, and you can be anything that a good man would want, the nice, respectable individual around the house and all the rest of that. But there's just this sense of this touch of mischievousness there, okay? I think you've learned when it's appropriate to be naughty and when it's not appropriate to be naughty. And I think what you're doing now is you want to explore the fun aspect. You also don't want to be constrained, because I feel that this is a time of freedom from bondage in so many different ways, but also a sense of needing to be sort of tied or connected with one particular individual in a very, very strong and a very, very passionate way. Alright, so that's what the reading is speaking of. And so the poor sense in the here and now, it does speak of a certain quality of challenge, and I think this is a challenge of two individuals who've got very strong ideas as to what they want to do and where they want to take the relationship. But I think you'll both have to discard that and try and work on where your similarities are in order to get the progress moving forward into the future. So it feels like you can dovetail, but it will still take a bit of work to make sure that will happen. But the love's there. I mean, your question was, does this person love you? In which case I'd have to say quite categorically yes, okay? Progress, short-term, mid-term and long-term future. There we go. I just love the medieval style designs on these things. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks just like a genuine woodcut, apart from, of course, the gold paint in the background, which I personally think spoils the whole effect, but it still makes it look nice and mystical, I think. Okay, well, the progress, again, very strong on the cup signs, very strong on the love signs there, but also a sense of travel. And while we have a sense of travel coming into the future connected with this individual, unless, of course, there's either a bit of a distance between the two of you, literally a geographical distance, or you're going on a trip together. You're going to spend some time away from home together. Not too far down the line from now, maybe 6 months, maybe 10 months, an opportunity to cement the relationship, maybe to try and make things stronger and to try and build things up. I think that would make an awful lot of sense. So this does look like quite a positive love reading, but you're going to need that time together to just try and make it stronger. Okay? Okay, on with the next one. Okay, JG Chicks come back yet again. Another love question about one particular person she's met at one particular conference. Okay, so let's just have a quick look, see what the reading says, and try and get some, thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that may possibly be coming through. Let's just have a quick look. Still using the delightful Oswald Worth Tarot. Very mystical. There's all kinds of people who've used this tarot in varieties of ritual, forms of spiritualism. It's amazing. Great history it's got, I'm telling you. I've had this tarot deck for must be over 15 years. Well over 15 years. I don't tend to use it professionally all that much, but I use it for my own contemplation and meditation. Alright. Give and take is the order of the day here, definitely. But also seeing things in balance. This is not someone who's going to leave your life. This is someone who's going to be hovering around. There's a sense of temptation there. There's a sense of, something of the divine, definitely. I mean, the temperance card there often speaks about something of the divine, but it also speaks about trying to see things in balance, weighing, measuring, making sure everything is just right, contemplation, seeing things objectively. I feel that you can be drawn to this individual with your heart, but you don't quite know where they're coming from. I feel you want to stand back, you want to be able to make up your mind objectively as to precisely what he's about and where you want to take things. On his side of things, he's very satisfied with life, and I think that could possibly be a bit of an obstacle. Now, you might think that when someone's satisfied with life, things get a lot easier. Well, he's got the Fool card on his side of things, and I think that's speaking about a sense of having his head in the clouds. It often does, often a sense of childlike joy, but also there is a sense of wisdom there. It's often referred to as the wise fool, because he instinctively knows what's right for him. But is he going by instinct, or is he going by wisdom? And is he actually thinking clearly, or is he in a dream world? These things you've got to bear in mind. We've also got the World there. Now, the World and the Fool going together, that's got a very peculiar combination of the combination of meanings, one would say, because although he's in that sort of childlike happy state, everything's going to be okay, he's also feeling that everything is already just right. So why would he want to try and bring someone else into his life? But on the other hand, he has noticed you. There's that sense of balance and perspective there. So it's not your standard reading, it's not your standard outcome, it's more a question of there's been a spark. Now it's a question of trying to ignite things, and that's where things could be getting a bit difficult. Now on your side of things, you're someone who can make decisions, you're someone who can make things happen. I know you're a woman, but on your side of things you've got some very, very strong male sides, which by comparison with him is a very interesting dynamic. It's like kind of like role reversal. I mean, obviously he's still very much a man, okay, you're still very much a woman. But in this particular case, you may need to find yourself making decisions for him on the basis that he is the actual one for you, okay? Now, one thing that's curious is that, you know, we got this kind of like opposites attracts kind of dynamic going on there. We got this kind of like open, sensitive, satisfied feeling on his side of things, and this sense of a need to try and get more control. I mean, I get the feeling there's a bit of anxiety there on your side of things. You've reached this time of, come on, it's really got to happen for me now. I mean, that's probably why we've got even more male signs on your side of things. It's now, you know, that result, I want it. Chill, relax. The way that they portray the Lover's card in the Oswald Worth Tarot is a bit different to the way you've seen it in other tarot readings, in other tarot packs. Because you've got one male character and two female characters. And in this particular tarot pack, although it's called the Lovers, it's referred to as the parting of the ways. Moving away from a childlike way of looking at life and moving on to a mature way of looking at life. A bit like when you move away from your family and spend time with your partner. There's got to be a reason why that's come for you in the short-term future. That next level of development appears to be happening for you very, very soon. This individual who we've been reading on today, if he's not the one, he could be instrumental in bringing you closer to the one. If you get my drift, maybe he'll just be a good person to know and see how it goes, one step at a time, okay? Plenty of signs of fun and recreation and times together, okay? But also a sense of there being an eventual and emerging victory being brought about, possibly by knowing this individual. Has he, by chance, given you a few more things to think about? Has he, just through being there, helped you to see life in a different way? These are things to take into account, because maybe that's why he was there for you. Alright, crack on with the next one. Just a moment, please. Okay, we've got a rather curious one. YouTube channel name 021 Tilly, I think it is, has not given me any clues at all and just wants me to see what I can see. Now, I don't like doing general readings via a video because I don't think it really helps you. Alright, I really don't think it helps you. A general reading over the phone's not too much of a problem, but I don't do those over Keen or Live Person. I only do those via the British line, okay? But just for yourself, I'll do a very, very quick general look into the future, and I'll just see what kind of things are coming through. But even before I've laid down the cards, there is something of an academic nature coming through, and that's interesting. I'm not quite sure what that's about. So either studies or exams or something along those lines, or doing more book learning somehow and improving some skills. That's appeared to me before I've laid down any cards. So that's got some kind of importance for you at some point in the coming days or in the coming future. Something to do with maybe changing your path, changing your path, finding something else out, which is important for your path and where you want to go. It's amazing what I'm just suddenly getting inside my mind. There's also a big decision in terms of issues surrounding relationships and family. The one surrounding the relationship side of things, that feels complex. I'm sensing one individual who's not behaving properly, and I'm sensing that one being like a past connection, something which is on your mind a lot. There's a feeling inside you as to whether you want to be with that individual or whether that's not quite going to work out according to plan. There's also, questioning as to whether that's going to work out okay. There's a very big decision. I just got the image of a wedding, which is not necessarily associated with you. I'm not sure how, but I just saw it inside my mind, and whether that's going to go okay, or is it a larger form of celebration. that's very difficult for me to say precisely, but the feeling is that social engagements, concern about them, concern about what's happening after that, a change in your career, definitely studies and finding something else out about something to do with the workplace and how that's going to carry you further forward. I also this one I'm not too sure about, but I felt that there was a spirit presence near you as well. I don't know whether you sense it as well, but there's something in your house which is not negative at all. It's quite positive, and I think it's associated with you. Someone, it feels like a senior female energy. Possibly someone who's passed relatively recently, within the past 4 years. Not too sure. Anyway, that was a bit weird. But all that stuff came through, and I don't know whether any of that makes any sense to you or not. I don't know. I mean, that's part of the problems of me doing my job, but that stuff just appeared. And so I tell you what happened. But there must be a reason why that came through that way, and I was not required to lay out the cards. Either way, that information has some kind of importance at somewhere along the line. So I just wanted to give that to you, okay? Anyway, on with the next one of today. Okay, we have someone who wants to be known as Miss Scorpio. Miss Scorpio wants to know whether she's going to settle down, find the right quality of individual, and all that kind of jazz. So let's just have a quick look and see what the tarot says today. Just bear with me a second, please. Alright, well, there are some signs of new beginnings for you. Very good, very strong, very important signs of new beginnings. They're not there for you yet. The progression is further on down the line. Now, I'm just going to very quickly show you the cards so that you can get a bit of a feeling for what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling and how it's probably going to work out for you. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, here's the progression. Delightful Oswald Tarot. Short-term future. Still with your stable state of instability. The feeling is that of drudgery to a certain extent, needing to try and progress beyond there. Again, a sense of getting balance, getting peace, and trying to move into the right direction, but there's also a sense of there being some harm or some wrong which has been done to you, which you possibly have to overcome and get the right variety of perspective about. The energy is you yourself have to be in control, but you're not always being given the opportunities to get the right perspective that you need. It's like other people are interfering on your ground and territory. That's your signs of new beginnings. Before the spring of next year has come in, you'll have the inkling of moving in the right direction in that respect. Yes, there is a strong male energy associated with that, but it's very driven by your own power and your own energy. It's not simple, it's not straightforward. You are the driving force there. But it feels very powerful. It's definitely later on down the line, after Christmas, after New Year, that's when things will start to kick off to enable you to actually be in that strong, stable position that you want to be. And that is, of course, later on down the line, followed by signs of what you want to get is going to come your way. Now, you did ask about marriage. Sometimes some people say the Devil card is symbolic of marriage, but it's also symbolic about analysis, breaking down ideas so you can start building ideas up again. It's almost like you've been taking yourself through this period whereby you can destroy your own character or destroy something else about you so that you can then build yourself back up again in a new form. Or at least that's what you seem to have tried to do. And that's essentially one of the things the reading is talking about. Your drive towards settling down and finding the next right thing is part of you reconstructing your life, reconstructing or rebuilding your life, so that you know more about who you are and who you want to be later on down the line. It's actually quite a very powerful reading. Of course, we've got the star card there, called Les Étoiles here, I think. There we go. Namely, she's measuring out again in a very similar manner to the Temperance card, but it's more to do with giving, and because you've given so much, now you are going to receive what you deserve. and in a very positive light with power and passion later on down the line. So is it all going to happen for you? I would have to say in a very strong manner, yes. But there's still a question of a bit more time to be, a bit more time's got to pass before you can actually be in that strong, stable state again. But it's powerful, what more can I say? Okay, we've actually had quite a few peculiar combinations coming through. Maybe it's something to do with the tarot we're using today. Anyway, we'll go straight on with the next reading. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, we've got another inquiry from another inquirer, whose YouTube channel name is That One Manly. And this individual has an issue with staying on one particular spiritual path. Don't worry about that. After a while, you start to realize that you are your own spiritual path. Every single stage that you go through, you will be learning new things, sometimes on a very subtle level or a deep level, and you can't always put your finger on precisely what it is you're learning, but you're changing. And you are finding something which suits you. One thing that strikes me about your energy, including the way that you wrote your private message, but there's something else about you that you don't want to be restricted by another individual's understanding of what is right and what is wrong and what is the right form and variety of behavior associated with a particular religious or spiritual path. You want to be a free thinker, but there's a certain level of anxiety about you. You want to be a part of a group of people, and therefore to enjoy the pleasure of being part of a collective, but you also don't want to lose yourself in another group. It appears to me that you fear that you are the kind of person who would take too seriously what other people say and what other people order or instruct you to do. Does this start to make sense? Okay. And I think that this is actually quite an important level of self-knowledge you've got there. Quite important in many different ways. I mean, because you've realized this about yourself, and that's one of the reasons why something inside you says, no, I'm not going to stay there, because it just doesn't feel right, or it's a little cringeworthy or a bit pretentious, or it's not quite me. Does that make sense to you? So you seem to have already realized. Yeah, you've actually already realized inside yourself that what you don't like. When we're going through the process of working out what we hate, that's part of the process of working out what we like. And I think that you want a much more independent spiritual path. A higher power that you can understand in your own way, in your own terms. Maybe being eclectic and stealing from a wide variety of different traditions. And maybe just starting with something basic like meditation and just sticking with that. Not necessarily any particular variety of meditation. Just try them. Experience them, explore them, and see how you go. On my desk I've got my tarot cards on one side, I've got a Bible on the other side, I've got a copy of the I Ching over there. I've got a bit of everything, because I don't need to be following one path. And I don't think that you need that either. Hello, we got Taki Ayera, who's come on for a quick general. Okay, we'll use the Celtic cross spread for this one. Just bear with me a second, please. Alright, I don't know whether you've had a Celtic cross spread reading before. We'll just rattle through this one quickly because I want to try and fit everybody in, okay? Now, the Celtic cross spread is quite interesting because it deals with yourself and sees yourself as being the centre of your own universe, okay? So in this particular case, the signs surrounding your character and your nature, not looking too bad. I feel you're someone who gets an awful lot of inspiration from a wide variety of different sources. Those are the signs for your inner character, what you're like behind closed doors. Maybe you're a bit of an empath in your own right, okay? There's something of the... there's definitely something of the spiritual there, without the shadow of a doubt. But there's also a feeling of instability. So there's a few things you don't tell other people, which is basically inside you, okay? The Hanged Man. This one essentially represents what you're like when you're dealing with your family, your friends, and people in the outer world. Okay, so there is a sense of concern there, or fear that maybe other people don't quite have your best interests at heart. I wouldn't be as concerned about other people as you might be in the here and now. Reflection upon the past is very strong in terms of love, but those signs aren't there in the here and now. They're in the past. And the love signs were actually reversed, talking about a sense of recovering from a bad experience that you've had associated with someone some time ago. But the anticipation of the future part of the reading is a reminder of yourself being in control. That's the Emperor card there, which often comes out when there's a sense of you being the person who can just dictate orders to other people. But there is a sense of understanding behind it as well. So your character is changing quite dramatically as a result of recent occurrences. Well, when I say recent, I mean within the past year and a half, which is where I feel that most of the more difficult stuff has actually occurred for you. Okay, things you're aware of at the moment. Fair few challenges around you and a sense of anxiety as to which particular direction to go in. But that's not something to worry about. There's also this feeling that other people are holding information away from you as well. But you're pretending to the whole world. You're very good at pretending to the whole world that you are the one who knows everything and you are in charge. When you need to, okay? Not all the time. It's just one of those things you do once in a while. But, you know, your character is coming out strong. We need to pretend, okay? Everyone has a mask. When I go down the pub, I'm a different person I am when I'm doing my work, if you get my drift, okay? Because the real me is essentially something which is inside, something which people who are psychics or spiritualists call the core star. And that's something which is not necessarily expressed by your body language, by your voice, by lots of little things about you. It's something which is deep, deep, deep within. That's the real you. Okay. Progress, short-term, mid-term, and long-term future. Your short-term future signs? A reaffirmation of extra loving energy coming your way. That's a message of someone who is younger than you and someone who is very ready for something serious entering into your life. Very strong financial signs with your mid-term future. Mid-term future being between 3 and 6 months down the line from now, which is essentially very positive. Some unexpected signs associated with one particular individual from your past who you may have some difficulties with in the future, but I feel you're going to be able to deal with that okay. So it's not really something to worry about, it's something to be aware of. But that's not happening until like late spring, early summer. And finally, you know, the final picture that the reading is giving me is that of you being basically where you need to be, and also being respected in your community and indeed in another community. Is there some kind of promotion coming your way? Is there some kind of extra opportunity which you previously did not think that you would get, which is just looming around the corner? That's the kind of feelings I'm getting. Okay, on with the next one. MKV in 1901 has got a couple of questions. Okay, let's just have a quick look. The first one is, will her enemy come back? Okay, well, let's just have a quick look and see what the reading says, because all I can do is tell you what I can see, okay? You know, I don't choose the cards, I don't prime the readings, I tell you what comes through, and I shuffle very thoroughly. Just have a quick look for you. I don't think you need to be concerned. We have the Judgment card, and we've got the Moon card. The Judgment card often speaks about other people envying you. Whoever this enemy is, they envy you, but you have ascended to a level above them, so essentially they don't understand you, you don't understand them. Don't have to worry about that, alright, because you're in a stronger position on different levels, which will enable you to look after yourself, protect yourself, guard yourself. And also, the Moon card is talking about a certain depth of wisdom that you've got, which means that you are much more perceptive than you think you are, and you are someone who can find solutions much quicker than other people that you know. The second question is, okay, will she return to her home state, and what is her romantic future? Let's have a look out for signs of travel. Okay, we do have some signs of travel, but they're not for a long period of time. At the moment, it's more a question of being alone with your responsibilities, as the Hermit card often speaks about, but also preparation. The Hermit card, by the way that I sometimes read it, is a question of preparation, and also using things which are around you to heal you, to guard you, to protect you, and also to build yourself up to a new level. The hermits of old would be monastic creatures, so to speak, who would be encouraged to pray and keep away from society and just to study religious texts. But in this society, it's much more a question of, yes, reading, yes, contemplation, yes, trying to prepare yourself for something else. and keeping yourself as the person who's in control of your life. Have you had too many people controlling you in the past? Does that still weigh heavy upon you? Try and shed that weight, because the situation you're in now is not the situation you were in then. Accept the fact change has happened. Alright, as far as travel to another state, we've got that later on down the line, okay? That's still a fair distance. And I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I wouldn't worry about that too much. It will happen, but just not just yet. On with the next one. Okay, Daniela Splash has come on for a quick reading about the X. Let's have a quick look. You know what the question is? All I can do is tell you what I can see. Here we go. Okay, well this one's actually looking really rather interesting. Progression into the short-term, mid-term, long-term future. Okay, well essentially the forces between the two of you at the moment is signs of change and transformation. So essentially this is not a situation which is completely and utterly over. The energy is on your side of the reading. We've got the Temperance again, which is talking about bringing about an equilibrium and also weighing, preparing, seeing things in perspective. Alright? Signs on his side of things. The Fool card has once again returned. He's made a mistake, he knows he's made a mistake, and he's trying to forget the fact that he's made a mistake. He's feeling rather negative, he's feeling rather forlorn, and he's trying to ignore that, trying to cut that aspect of himself outside of himself. If you were to be able to be in a position whereby you could actually talk, and talk like proper grown-ups with him, I'm pretty sure that he would weaken, and there'll be an opportunity to try and make the change happen yet again, and bring about some unity. I don't see it happening straight away. I think it may take a couple of months before you actually get to where you want to with him. And yes, it'll be very difficult, but I am seeing it happening. Okay, now those are the readings for today. I do hope you've enjoyed the show. We've had a few freaky moments, alright? I hope you've enjoyed having a look at the Oswald Worth Tarot, which is a bit of a departure from some of the, styles of decks that we've had so far. We've got a few more lined up for you, including the Prediction Tarot. We'll be having a look at that pretty soon. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to reiterate, please do send your requests through via private message, not in the comment section, okay? That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, no questions about pregnancy at all, or medical matters or childbirth. I just don't do those. Please, please, please remember that, okay? And I'm not really in a position to read on legal issues, alright? And that's because there's laws surrounding this service. So sometimes you can submit me a question and I won't answer it, because, it's out of my remit. And there are professionals in our society today who you can go to, sometimes even for free, who can provide you with the advice that you need and the direction that you need to assist you to get what help you want. If it's a medical issue, please go to the doctors, alright? If it's a legal issue, there'll be someone out there who can provide you with legal assistance. And if you're here in the UK, go to the CAB, the Citizens Advice Bureau. And there may be similar free governmentally run or supported organisations in your local nation state. And so it's worthwhile looking out for these. Maybe you can nip down to your local lending library and there'll be a list of places where you can get advice there. Alright, there are specific professionals for specific problems, and I can't ram that home enough for you, okay? You can come to me for a moment of contemplation, you can come to me for, just that time in your day, in your busy schedule, when you just need to just sit down, relax, chill, and think about you. It's a bit of you time. It's not a bit of somebody else time, it's a bit of you time, you thinking about your problems, your issues, and all the rest of that, alright? And that's one of these things you've got to get straight. This is, legally speaking, an entertainment service. But it's an entertainment service that some people claim that they get therapeutic benefit from. And I think that you need to get that distinction. Because you can come to me for all kinds of things. But if it's a medical problem, go to the doctors. If it's a legal problem, find someone who can provide proper legal advice. If it's a real estate problem, find some specialist, a professional specialist who will help you with legal, real estate type advice. Alright? That's it for the moment. Please carry on keeping your inquiries coming in. There's a very small backlog. It's not a massive backlog. It's a very small backlog. Okay, and I'll be going through that with next session. And carry on keeping your inquiries coming through, because I love them. It's good practice for me, and I think that you enjoy the readings as well. So I'll bid you good fortune, God and or Goddess and or none of the above bless. Great and glorious Nick Dutch signing out for now, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.